It should be borne in mind that in OM certain individual leaders have been named for their role in the story, but those are among some details I have left out to reduce the length of this account. I can't do justice to the complete story, and there is truly no substitute for reading all this material in full. In no way does my writing do adequate justice to the contents of OM. You can view the German section by scrolling to the end of this page. Enoch's account goes something like this. One day, when the number of humans of the earth had increased, the sons and daughters of heaven or celestial sons and daughters came to earth. They were the far travelers from the depths of the universe. The earth humankind were still wild and unruly, but both the women and the men were very beautiful. When the sons and daughters of heaven saw the beauty of the humankind on earth, they lusted after them. They talked amongst themselves and decided that they would choose for themselves earth women and men and produce descendants with them, and establish their own people. But such an act was forbidden by the Ishwish, the highest leader of the sons and daughters of heaven, and so, as they feared his punishment, they all swore an oath binding them to silence, so that he would not find out what they had done. The word heaven here refers to the sky, rather than to heaven, the supernatural home of God. The sons and daughters of heaven were flesh and blood humans, as was God, because the humankind of the earth were differently formed than the sons and daughters of heaven. They bore descendants who were different from themselves, who grew quickly and were bigger than the earth people, and so they were also bigger than the sons and daughters of heaven. They grew on to become giants who measured 33 feet in height, 30 ells. There were many descendants, and after a few generations their numbers increased, but they became wild and unruly like the earth people from whom they had come. As the giants grew in number, there was an increasing food shortage all over the land. The giants consumed everything belonging to the earth human, and then, in hunger, they turned to attacking the earth humans themselves and the sons and daughters of heaven. They imprisoned, slaughtered, and ate them. The giants only became more evil and wicked, and many people fled their persecution. When the giants could no longer find the earth people and sons and daughters of heaven, they began to disgrace all animals that moved. Therefore they slept with the animals. They also killed them and ate each other too. This way they had nourishment from flesh and blood to drink. The giants lived for a long time on earth and then became infertile and died out. Enoch tells that the evil on the earth was produced through these events. The heavens' sons and daughters and earth people who had fled the giants lived together, and they had become like the giants, characterized by all kinds of evil, wild and degenerate, and living a riotous life. They also tempted other people foreign to them to evil, and made war on them. The sons and daughters of heaven, because of their wrong behavior, had been banished by the Ishwish and had to live among the earth people, although they had much longer lives of 1,200 years. They taught the earth people all kinds of things and also revealed secret knowledge. The earth people were teachable, docile, teachable, intelligent students. And so they were instructed in all kinds of things, in craft and arts and different kinds of thinking. They were instructed in both good and evil. Meanwhile, everywhere the wickedness born through the giants was taking greater hold and spreading out. And the people learned to find and work metal, make swords, knives, armor and shields. They learned fighting and also how to make jewelry and decorate their bodies with jewelry and paint and precious stones. They learned to manufacture dyes, and among other things, the women learned to beautify their eyebrows. There was soon great unrighteousness ending on earth because all people were corrupted and living according to the wrong teaching and to their own advantage. Much true and false teaching was spread, which came from the far travelers from the depths of the universe and also from the humankind of the earth, who had fallen to wickedness and unrighteousness through the evil acts of the giants. They learned all kinds of things, and this included the laws and directives of creation. But the people were corrupted, and so they wandered the wrong way and would not follow the truth. When the Ishwish learned of all of these terrible things taking place on the earth, caused by the sons and daughters of heaven against his instruction, he was horrified, but said that such evil could only continue for so long, and it was only a matter of time before the people destroyed themselves. And so they did, through the manufacture of death's sons, built from the stones of life. According to O.M., a correctional measure against all this was attempted by another Ishwish thousands of years later, in which, under his guidance, and with the help of the same reincarnated spirit forms who had committed the crime thousands of years earlier, more descendants were produced on earth who this time would be just like sons and daughters of heaven. This time was the occasion in which Adam was produced, and this is where the account in the Talmud manual begins. However, again the people were corrupted and led astray, and the correctional measures apparently failed. It was because of this further non-adherence to the laws and directives of creation that on the instruction of the Ishwish, Enoch was produced through the Ishwish's leader Gabriel and an earthly woman Sarana, to teach the people anew, and to warn them against allowing such devastation to occur again. O.M. explains that creation brought forth prophets, who came through their own decision and obligation, to instruct earth humanity in the creational laws and directives, but the prophets have always been mocked and persecuted and their teachings falsified. Nondakan was another example of this. Nondakan was a prophet of the Ishwish and was sent among the people of the earth to bear witness to the truth, that no other creation existed next to the creation. But the people of the earth mocked Nondakan, and so they had to do penance through their own blame and lack of reason in their millions, because they excluded themselves from the ark and drowned in the wild waters. The mockers and leaders of the people chattered about Nondakan, that he stood in manifest terror and was confused in his talking and thinking. Nondakan had carried over a message of the Ishwish and sincere advice that there would be a great flood of water many weeks long caused by a traveling star planetoid that had already often brought disaster. But the people would not listen to Nondakan, and therefore they would not know the truth around the traveling star. Therefore they did not follow the advice to vacate the endangered land or to build arks as Nondakan did. Canon 31:25, which seems to be quoting the Ishwish of today, says, "Truly, Nondakan's people were a blind people, the same blindness from which all the humankind of the earth suffer today, and newly grieves the prophet over the blindness of his people." The discovery in 1963 of the Talmud manual, demonstrated by Professor Deardorff to be the genuine account of the life and teachings of the Prophet manual, shows us just how the teachings of the Prophet manual had also been corrupted and made us hostile to the truth of the renewed, unfalsified teachings of O.M. In O.M. the prophet of the new time, our prophet, in an immense act of love, teaches us and appeals to us once again to rise above our corruption and madness. The prophet delivers boundless love and breathtaking spiritual teaching, and the harsh language of truth. The creation itself is your spirit, and where the spirit is, that is also freedom.